Welcome to InfoHub. In our headlines, new GCOM commissioner sworn in, 16 days of activism to eradicate gender-based violence launched, and GPL is upgrading its distribution network to several East Coast Demerara villages. Stay tuned for the details of these and more.
As Guyanese citizens who live in Guyana, we have duties to perform for the benefit of our families, communities, and ourselves. Some of those duties are legal, like obeying the laws of Guyana, and others are voluntary, like keeping our surroundings clean or voting.
One legal duty that citizens have which contributes to the national budget is paying your taxes. But you can be of greater help to your country and government agencies by paying attention to how public services are being delivered and asking questions if you have any concerns. The budget is everyone's business. Get involved now.
A message from the Ministry of Finance.
And now for the details. President David Granger swore in WPA Representative Desmond Trotman as GCOM's newest commissioner today at State House.
President David Granger, while speaking at the ceremony, said that the move to swiftly fill the vacancy is in the interest of enabling the Commission to get on with its business, which has been delayed for March of 2017.
As everything I've done over the last 30 months, I ensure that my actions are entirely in accord with the Constitution. In this particular instance, it is up to my judgment, and I consulted widely among my coalition partners, and Mr. Trotman was not the only nominee, but in my mind, he was the fit and proper person. He brings tremendous experience to the Commission, and I am confident that the people of Guyana will be very satisfied with this appointment.
Speaking to media operatives after being sworn in, Trotman noted that he brings more than 30 years' experience to the Commission.
I've interfaced with commissions at different levels, and so that I think that I bring some value to the work of the Commission. More importantly, I believe that in keeping with the President's wishes of wanting to ensure that the Commission works to ensure that there's free and fair elections, that my contributions are going to be important at that level.
Alexis Rodney tells us that at Kako Primary 29th anniversary celebration, President David Granger recommitted to ensuring that all Guyanese have access to education.
The head of state made the remarks while addressing Kako residents in the Kuyuni Mazaruni on Thursday. He said his administration has been placing much emphasis on boosting teachers' capacity and enhancing education delivery and access.
Education is the gateway to equality, is the gateway to protecting your environment, is the gateway to employment, and the gateway to empowerment. That's why education is so important. And that's why you must get things right at Kako Primary School, so everybody living here will be fully educated.
The head of state joined residents and students in celebrating the Kako Primary School's 29th anniversary. He said that as president, he is a partner in the development of the village and the country as a whole.
Better schools, bigger schools, sufficient staff, proper libraries. And from there, we must look at other assets so that we can have little laboratories so children could start to the introduction to computers early, the introduction to science and technology early in life, from the time they come to primary school.
According to President Granger, every Guyanese must be given equal opportunities, as the way to achieve equality is through education. Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali says that the campaign for the elimination of violence against women is a social, political and civic duty for all. She was speaking at the launch of the 16 days of activism under the theme, Leave No One Behind. Let's collaborate to eradicate gender-based violence on Friday at the Albion Sports Complex. Here's that report.
We must speak out against violence. We must support survivors and commemorate the victims. And we must stand together in our commitment to end violence against women and girls in all its forms. Together we can and will make the progress needed to eliminate this scourge on our society.
Minister Ali said that by not dealing with the issues of gender discrimination in our society, Other efforts to resolve the economic, political, and governance issues will not be viable.
That if we do not address gender inequalities and discrimination against women, it will become almost impossible to accomplish goal number 5 of the Sustainable Development Goals, we call them the SDGs, on achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls, thus impeding the development of our nation.
Also calling for society to speak out and end the violence against women and girls was Sita Nagamutu, the wife of Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu.
Guyana has laws, and we must demand strict enforcement of same against perpetrators of violence against girls and women. But this is not a problem that can be successfully solved by government authorities alone, as was pointed out earlier. It requires a collective effort by all stakeholders.
The 16 days of activism officially begin Saturday, November 25 and ends appropriately on International Human Rights Day, December 10. The Social Protection Ministry, in collaboration with its partners, have organized several activities to raise public awareness and mobilize all stakeholders across the country to bring about much-needed change. Paul McAdam, InfoHub.
The University of Ghana begins consultations on identifying and meeting demands within the oil and gas sector. Tiffany Rogers tells us more.
Minister Raphael Trotman said the stakeholder engagement advances the local content narrative.
I see this initiative by the University of Guyana as another pillar that builds on the firm foundation we wish to create by helping us to continue a conversation about local content generally and the demands of engineering and operations management skills within the emerging sector specifically.
UG Symposium examined how it could align with government's priorities while identifying and filling gaps in engineering skills for the industry. However, Minister Trotman cautioned that there will not be large numbers of direct employment in the industry and said focus must also be placed on the supporting sectors.
As you shift, think also of enhancing skills that are transferable to other sectors. Example, fabrication, which can be utilized in mining and shipbuilding, IT and telecommunications.
Industry representatives from ExxonMobil and Repsol, along with academics from the University of the West Indies and University of Trinidad and Tobago, gave their perspectives for UG's consideration. This stakeholder engagement comes on the heels of a recent $100 million grant from the Natural Resources Ministry to help UG build capacities in oil and gas. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
Alexis joins us again to inform about a sustainable urban transport study of Georgetown, facilitated by the Public Infrastructure Ministry and Brazilian company Logit.
The study, carried out between October 2016 and November this year, was aimed at providing specific project recommendations and policy options to allocate road space more efficiently among users and increase the use of cleaner and more sustainable transportation modes. It included the urban public transportation improvement sector, the traffic improvement program, gender study, institutional strengthening, and the parking management plan. According to Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson, data shows that some 9,000 new vehicles take to the roads each year. He noted that the majority of them traverse Georgetown, but its road network system has not been improved significantly.
Now the study coupled with this report shows that 65 to 70% of all traffic heads to the city of Georgetown, coming from the East Bank and as well as the East Coast. So you can well imagine the strain that we add annually to Georgetown.
The recommendations coming out of the study now falls under the purview of the mayor and the city council. Taking this into account, Minister Patterson says the next move is to discuss the proposals.
At the end of this stakeholder meeting, a final report which will incorporate your comments, and the final report will be presented to the ministry and to the municipality and the public at home as a whole.
Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
The Guyana Power and Light Incorporated, GPL, has started the rollout of a multi-billion-dollar upgrade to the electricity distribution network to East Coast Demerara villages. Here's that report.
Speaking at a community outreach at the Buxton Secondary School last evening, The Ghana Power and Light's acting Chief Executive Officer Renford Homer said the project is part of the Power Utilities Upgrade Program.
It's not just about what's happening just here in Buxton Friendship. This is a program that has been identified that would help our company in improving the quality of service, and if we can do that, then of course we would expect to have better customers or more satisfied customers. This has come about because there's been a long recognition that, one, our network is quite aged. It's been here for quite some time. But more importantly, because as a company, we are always challenged financially because of the intense cost of generating electricity.
The East Coast Distribution Network upgrade is part of an approximately $65 million effort. It is funded equally by the European Union grant and a loan from the Inter-American Development Bank.
This is just one phase of a project that is meant to span approximately 830 kilometers of new and upgraded cable. And it's also meant to see overall, on average, about 58,000 meters being replaced with more modern electronic meters.
The upgrade, which targets an overall 85 communities, will be rolled out in 4 phases, namely excavation and pole planting, stringing of conductors, electrical installations, and installation of smart meters. GPL is advising that during phases 2 and 3, there will be several extended periods of power outages. They're asking that consumers bear with them. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
Minister of Business with Responsibility for Tourism, Dominic Gaskin, encouraged regional stakeholders to regard the sector as a significant contributor to Guyana's development. Here is Gabriela Patra.
At today's Regional Tourism Planning Business Session, Minister Gaskin encouraged stakeholders to view the industry as one that will add to the growth of the country.
There's enormous potential in this industry. It can hold its own against a lot of our established industries, but we need to also work on a mindset that seems not to acknowledge tourism as maybe a serious economic sector, but it is.
The minister noted that there is value in preserving Guyana's natural habitat, adding that more needs to be done to attract visitors to the hinterland.
Hinterland tourism is the product that we are promoting. I think there is some agreement, unwritten agreement, unspoken agreement that this is the strength of our tourism industry.
Over the last 4 months, the Department of Tourism have been consulting with regional authorities and stakeholders to identify tourism hotspots. These will be included in the draft tourism policy. The ministry and regional authorities will then collaborate to have those identified hotspots developed. Gabriela Patram for InfoHub.
Renowned sprinter Alian Pompey will now serve as an ambassador for the government's Green Generation Guyana initiative aimed at encouraging persons to adopt safe waste management practices. Here is our final report from Stacey Carmichael.
The collaborative effort between the Ministry of Communities and the National Sports Commission as part of the Green Generation Guyana 3G program will see posters of the 3G ambassador, Pompey, mounted at various sporting facilities. Today, the Lenora Track and Field facility was officially declared a litter-free zone. Making brief remarks at the occasion, Pompey said that she is proud to be the face of such an important campaign.
It's something that's very close to my heart. Obviously, Guyana is one of the most beautiful places to me. And in the last few years that I've been able to bring athletes and other interested shareholders to Guyana, mainly as part of the Alian Pompey Invitational, they've expressed the same. I hope the entire country gets behind it so that we have a clean, beautiful, and sustainable Guyana.
Director of Sport Christopher Jones said that the National Sports Commission is pleased to be associated with the venture.
We recognize that the Sports Commission has several sports facilities, and of course on a weekly or daily basis you will have hundreds if not thousands of persons gracing our facilities. And of course the emphasis, once you want to create a green environment, the emphasis must start at some level.
The posters will be at all other sporting facilities across the country. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Thanks for watching. Remember, you can connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.
Do you know what the national budget is?
The national budget is a public record of the government's financial plans. It identifies financial goals of the government and the amount of money needed to achieve those goals during a 12-month period.
The national budget also tells the story of how the country's resources are being used and whether our decision makers are securing a good future for all citizens. It also reveals what the government sees as priority.
As citizens, you may or may not agree with those priorities, but understanding what government's decisions and plans are for the year ahead will allow you to ask questions and hold the government accountable, as is your duty. The budget is everyone's business. Get involved now.
A message from the Ministry of Finance.